Hi guys, I'm so excited to be with director Raymond Red. I'm Louis Vidron for Cinema Daily US. And of course, don't forget, all my interviews has this. The key to my city, New York City.
Wow.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome to New York Asian Film Festival. We have something in common besides pareho tayong pogi. I said, we're both beautiful, handsome, and young. Direct Raymond, where the common thing is Cannes Film Festival. I do my little intimate events at the film market, but you won at the Cannes Film Festival for Palme d'Or. So how was that experience? And please encourage us about how to be part of this.
Wow, that's 26 years ago.
26 years. You were what,
in
1
year
year old?
2000, year 2000. So that's Anino, the short film, with Eddie Garcia, John Arcilla, and Ronnie Lazaro. You know, so that was quite an opportunity to be able to work with these actors. But the experience of Cannes, of course, that was exciting. It's I'm very grateful for that chance to be able to show that film there. But I always say, and this is not to put down the significance of the award, but it helped my career, of course, winning an award like that. But I always say, when you get your film programmed in a festival, that's already the win.
Exactly.
That you're able to show the film to an audience, and the Palme d'Or award was just a big bonus. I always say, competitions, it's a set of opinions. Of course, very respectable opinions, but you can always change the jury and somebody else will win. So I never try to get that, get into my head. But I appreciate it. I'm very grateful that I got that award. It helped my career. But I try not to focus on it. It's really just being in Cannes, being able to show the film. And I told Ronnie that. Ronnie Lazaro was with me. And that's what I said. Hey, we've won. We're here. We're showing the film. So during the awards, I was not expecting anything. I totally didn't expect, because there were a lot of really good films, and I had favorites among the short film competition. And I really thought the French film, there was a French film, I thought that would win. I even told the filmmaker, I think you're going to win. I don't know if I appeared silly by eventually winning when I told him that, but that's how I look at it, and that's what I tell students. The main thing is getting your film made and getting it shown to the audience that you want to impart your message.
And the rest is history. That's why we're here. Your films, what? Anino, Bayani, you have Sakay, Manila Skies, and Camera Obscura, and now Manila's Best. Manila's Finest.
Yeah.
So you are known for your artistic blending of historical drama with social realism. So you are a genius of that. And how do you actually do that, put that together?
I think it's really, from the very beginning, from the onset when I was doing Super 8 short films, I was really obsessed with nostalgia and history. I tried to read a lot about history and try to connect it to the present. So most of my films are touching on that and dealing with events in history, but usually just as an inspiration. Of course, maybe Sakay was an exception because it's a real biopic, an epic war film. But I've always, focused on the present, really, and it's looking back in the past and linking it to the present and trying to look at the roots of our problems today. So most of my films always deal with that.
And of course, one of the most meaningful thing to me is watching your film that's looking like a painting on each. And I was gonna tell you kudos to your cinematographer. I got so embarrassed, but you are the cinematographer of your own film. Yeah. So do you mind talking about wearing two hats? Was that difficult for you, or how do you manage time, and how was that done?
It's difficult, but organic and natural for me at the same time, because my background is visual arts and photography, And then it blended with my desire to try to tell stories.
Yes.
So I thought I was going to be a painter or photographer, but eventually I realized, hey, motion pictures is a different medium where it becomes more dynamic and you're able to tell a bigger story, a more effective story. So when I first held the Super 8 camera way back in the 80s, I said, this is the medium I've been looking for.
Super
So
8.
it's difficult, but then I have colleagues with background in theater, acting, writing, and so collaborating with other artists expands my perspective, in the arts, and I think that helped a lot. I am primarily a visual artist, but I do want to try and tell stories. So a lot of my films are told visually, but aided, of course, with good dialogue, good scripts, good mounting of scenes, and ultimately the final result is really a visual flow of ideas, thoughts, feelings, which create the story, of course.
Direct, just a short explanation of, for people who don't know the Philippine history, what is the meaning of Manila's Finest, which I know has double, triple meanings. But what is Manila's Finest again, if it's a short definition about that?
Historically, the peak of the Manila police, calling themselves Manila's Finest, was sometime in the 50s, 1950s, and the 60s. Of course, we were obviously very influenced by American, culture, being colonized for almost, 45 years. And we were basically mirroring, some New York's finest and so on. So they took on that phrase, that name, and adopted it. So what's interesting about our film is that in the late 60s, that was the start of the not really the downfall, but the chaos, as this force was going to change society and take over everything, through power, and that's what the police force experienced, and that is really what the film is trying to say, and how it began, how that conflict began.
Direct, I only got 2 more minutes. I guess let's go to the fun questions. Now, please talk about your actor, Piolo Pascual. He's not listening, so say positive things about him.
Well, of course, who doesn't know Piolo? But this is the first time we worked together.
Oh, yeah.
I've known him. I think he knows of me, and he's done independent films from way back. He's worked with Lav Diaz, with Adolf Alex. I remember envying them. They were in Cannes in 2009, no? Manila. So I'm a fan of those films, So I've always thought, maybe one day I'm going to work with him. But
He was manifesting.
I was
It
primarily working in independent films, and doing independent films usually you have limited budget. So you usually get to work with usually non-mainstream actors. But we saw in the past decades a lot of mainstream actors express their desire to be in these independent films, and so now we're seeing the blurring of lines between mainstream and independent, and that worked very well. Of course, this is a mainstream film. In fact, I always say this is my first full-fledged, full-length mainstream studio-produced film. Because all my films I produced independently. So this was really quite an experience and quite a treat, I have to say. And then finally, I get to work with somebody like Piolo Pascual.
Amen to that. And in conclusion, maybe 3 sentences, words of wisdom to filmmakers out there. Advice, please. Just a short words of wisdom, please.
I guess what I always tell filmmakers, and I teach film also, I tell my students, I think the most important thing in filmmaking and for any art form, and for that matter, when you want to express just to be sincere. And the most difficult is to be sincere to yourself.
Sincere to
I mean,
yourself.
you ask yourself, why am I going to make this film? And you have to be able to answer yourself honestly. And there has to be a very relevant reason why. Because, you know, especially now, the world is changing. I mean, we're surrounded by moving image media wherever you go. You know, you look up at LED billboards, you look at your phone, you look at your tablet, you watch movies. It's all over. It's all around us, and it's influencing us. And the word mainstream, in fact, has evolved. We don't know what the mainstream means now. I mean, is YouTube the mainstream? Is Netflix the mainstream? You know, before it was quite specific. Mainstream means main source. You know, like movies, the big screen, the theatrical releases. But now it can mean so many things, and that's what's amazing about that. It's because of the word stream. Now it's streaming. That is the main source now. So it can be quite confusing. So the most important thing for filmmakers to think is, do you really have an important reason why you're making a certain film?
Yeah. Thank you, Direct Raymond Red. And I have a true, real reason to do this. I'm sincerely recommending for you guys to watch Manila's Finest at the New York Asian Film Festival or any streaming platform or in any movie house that you're going to watch it at. Congratulations, Direct Raymond Red and Sir Piolo Pascual for flying to New York for this. And kudos to you. More awards and more film festivals.
Thank you.
I'm Luis Pedron for Cinema Daily US.
Gang member ang biktima. Malaking gulo ito.
Akala ko ba under control niyo na yung mga gang?
Sputnik ang nagsimula ng gulo. Kayo rin natatapos nito. Wala nang susunod na mamamatay. Kuha mo.
Bata pa lang ako. Ito na yung gusto ko. Maging pulis. Baho pala, no? Hindi lang pala sa labas may kalaban.
Ito lang kayo. Kami, nandito. Kahit anumang malaman ninyo, hindi nyo maiintindihan.
Hanggang saan nyo ba kaya dalhin to? Kung wala namang pupuntahan, baka pa tayo magmamatikas, diba?
Isipin mo mga kaibigan mo, lalo na ang pamilya mo.
Si Cecil, classmate ko.
No boyfriend mo na?
Hindi ho.
Hindi pa.
Tayo mga pulis, araw-araw natin nakikita ang kalat, gulo, kasalanan ng mundo. Kung gusto nating magbago ang Maynila, kailangan manggaling sa atin ang pagbabago.
Pag-isipan nyo kung karapat dapat pa rin kayong tawaging finest.
It's hope. Yung paniniwala nila na maganda pa rin ang mundo at may igaganda pa.